Hey guys, it is Frankie here, and it is once again time to bury the New York Yankees. This is the 2025 Yankees funeral, and I brought along two friends of mine to help grieve and help mourn this really mostly pathetic Yankees team that really underperformed at times, especially during the summer and during the ALDS. We brought along Mr. Pinstripe Territory himself, Derek Lewandowski, and the man who joins him a lot on PT and someone who I'm friends with, Terrence Kem. And so the three of us are just going to spend the next hour and 20 minutes talking about what went wrong and where we go from here. So let's start with Derek. We'll go to Terrence. Let's get right to it. Hey, Derek.
Hey, hey, what's up, Frankie Baseball?
What's up, my man? Sorry that you beat me to it. You got here a little bit
I thought
early,
I'd give
so
you a taste of your own medicine, Frankie.
well done. Well done, my man. Uh, how you feeling? 2 days out. You feeling all right? Better?
I'm doing okay. It's like it's almost like it's cathartic, I would say. We kind of saw this coming, right? I mean, you think back to all the blown saves and all the times we struggled against really bad teams, and we said, well, when they play a good team in the playoffs, I think you and I had the very discussion, like, how far will they go? And I think we both landed on, like, well, maybe they'll get through the wild card round, but probably not much further than the DS. Well, guess what? That's what happened. They got beat by a really good Blue Jays team. And Frankie, I was very gracious. I congratulated the Blue Jays on the air. I said how great they played, and yet somehow, some way, I didn't win the Nobel Peace Prize. I don't get it.
I mean, it's really, and you've been begging for it for years. I really thought that all of
It
your
was
pleading
my
for
year,
it.
I thought. I more so than the Yankees year, I thought it was my year for the Nobel Peace Prize.
I,
That's what I
I, I
thought.
would have I would have voted for you if that means anything. I would have voted, but it's a rigged process. They just don't respect what Pinstripe Territory does. It's just I don't know. It's bullcrap. Yeah, I'm with you. This was surprising and yet not shocking at all. If that makes sense. Like it's surprising that the Yankees lost Game 4, but really, like, are you shocked that this team lost to a bullpen game? Like, is that like that makes? What do you think?
I was gonna say no, somehow, like that feels very appropriate because like when you're matching up a bullpen game, right? You're playing against the hitter's strengths, right? With the lanes or whatever. And when you're a team that relies on home runs, I mean, you might pick up a few hits, you might hit a long ball or something, but for the most part, you're not going to put together rallies, which is something that the team struggles with anyway. And you're not going to hit home runs. So you could see that, like, hindsight's 2020, but thinking about it, you can see how they got, shut down. And you know what? I didn't get to have my therapy after the game because Mike Francesa had his stupid gallbladder out and he couldn't do a live show from his hospital bed. So, when I get done with my show, I like to go listen to Mike, but I was with, he let us down.
I think after that game, all of us were sent to the hospital. I mean, that was just. I feel bad for, like, what is Mike? We talked about this a couple days ago. He's like 72, 73 years old, and
71, 71.
71 years old. And I'm glad he's okay. But yeah, it was rough not hearing from him. But look, we had you. You're the new Mike Francesa. You took over. You were able to rant. Your
The
Austin
McMahon.
Walls rant.
He's the McMahon.
Your,
Uh,
your
Frankie,
Austin.
you're missing a major self-branding opportunity here. You got Frankie G on the screen. You go to your socials and it's like Frankie G or whatever. Frankie Baseball is the coolest name. It's just like Donnie Baseball, only it's Frankie Baseball.
Well, here's the thing. So Frankie G was my main YouTube channel. It was the first one. It was the one where I posted most of my videos. I don't really post there anymore, but that's the one I started off as. And then I had a plan, I think in like 2021, where I was gonna do all different channels. I was gonna do Frankie Baseball, I was gonna do Frankie Basketball, Frankie Football to try to. So Frankie G was gonna be like montages and highlights, and then Frankie Baseball is where I was gonna talk about all the other sports. But then I started the baseball channel and realized that just doing one channel on one sport is a lot of work. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
ended up, and so I ended up just thinking I never really got to the basketball, which is is
Which is
kind of a shame.
also the epilogue for the New York football show, which is the that's the autopsy. Doing one show is a lot of work. And by the time
Exactly.
we get to football season and Derek can barely breathe, yeah, he's not in the mood to get up early and talk about a football game he didn't watch.
Oh yeah, I enjoyed those shows. Like those were good. It was kind of
It was
like
fun.
oh yeah, it was kind of like the Velvet Underground. Like not a lot of people heard about it, but like the people that did were like raving about it and like talking about it. Like, man, did you hear the New York football show? Like that was like,
It was
yeah.
kind of a rad show. I'm not gonna lie. Like
Oh
the
yeah,
production quality was off the chain for a show that got 40 views.
it was yeah. But I really enjoyed it. But again, when you're doing what we do, which is baseball every day, it's hard to keep an eye on everything else. But yeah, like I was gonna mention your Austin Wells rant that you did on on that Wednesday. That was one of my favorite rants you've done, and I mean that I was just talking with TK, and we're gonna play that at the end of this, and yeah, he was really mad about that too, and all of us were. I mean, that pitch you hit that on a first pitch. It wasn't even a good pitch. At least let it be like a Freddie Freeman, Nestor Cortez pitch where it's like right down the middle. It was a terrible pitch. I don't know why he swung at that first pitch, and that was like kind of exemplary of everything we hate about the Yankee offense.
I still can't get why a coach or a manager doesn't whisper in his ear, "Hey, he just walked the guy in front of you. Make him throw a strike. Hey, you're a left-handed power hitter at Yankee Stadium. Maybe look for something middle in or low and in your pitch until you get two strikes." And instead, up and away pitch, Frankie. Oh, you're gonna. Oh, it's
Oh, here we
coming out,
go.
man. It's gonna. Oh man, I'm Jones in here. Up and away pitch, and he tries to go with it. Take it where it's pitched, in the air, to the deepest part of the park. Oh, I lost my mind, Frankie. I took my hat and I slammed it on the ground and I kicked it and then I yelled, "Ah!" And it was just I went crazy.
Yeah, I wish you could. I wish you were doing a watch party during that. I'm sure that would have been an
It
all-time
would have been a
reaction.
viral moment. I'd be a multimillionaire by now. I'd be done. I would be able to retire off of that clip alone.
Oh gosh, that really pissed me off. That and the obviously the Jazz era, which was um just again, it was a fitting Yankee game. We made an error. We didn't swing well on the at the plate. It was really a fitting game for this season. Just looking at it, who do you most blame for this series, if anything? Is there a general manager? Is it Boone? Is it a
You know,
player? Like who's like the number one culprit for this series
the
ending?
Jays, the Blue Jays
Yeah,
just
good
played
point.
great. I mean, this wasn't, if you go back and you look at the World Series last year, I can blame Boone in game one. I can blame Garrett Cole and Aaron Judge for errors and not covering first base in game five. I can blame Boone and Cashman for having Anthony Rizzo and Alex Verdugo starting games, and they're out of baseball now. But this year, I thought they had a better team. I thought they had a better team overall than they had last year. Now, they didn't have the generational Juan Soto, but nobody did in the postseason.
Hey,
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 that's the way it
moral
goes.
victory.
That's the way it goes. But I thought Grisham had a good year. I thought he'd play better than he did. Bellinger had a good year. I thought he'd play better than he did. Now he made a great, outstanding catch. He did hit a home run in Toronto. But the Blue Jays were just relentless. I think that they just they brought contact hitting to a power game, and the contact hitting won out. As it normally does in the postseason. I thought that their youngster Trey Sevich
Oh my
really showed me
gosh.
something. I mean, he was their version of Cam Schlittler. Yeah, though I gotta say, Frankie, watching Cam Schlittler this postseason got me psyched for next year,
Oh
man. I'm
yes.
I'm gonna I'm going to take the rare step, and I don't do this very often.
Oh boy.
About once every 3 or 4 years, I will get a new jersey with a different number on it. I do not have a 31 jersey. Assuming he wears 31 next year as his first full year, and some guys change their number their second year. We saw Wells do it. We saw Dominguez do it. Volpe, no, Volpe was always 11. But if Schlittler comes back as 31, I'm wearing number 31. I'm getting a 31 jersey.
Although you just gave me a great idea. Shuttler should be number 11. Just get rid of Volpe's number. If it plays, please. But yeah, so yeah, more you blame the Blue Jays just for being great. That's probably the Blue Jays were the better team. I think that's fair to say. I think we said before the series, I was looking at it and I was debating back and forth because I thought the Yankees. I foolishly thought the Yankees were getting hot at the end of the season. I guess they were. They won all those games at the end of the year. They won 2 out of 3 against Boston. I just thought they had all the momentum, but the Toronto just once I got back home, Toronto just snapped back into what they were doing in the summer in that brutal sweep, which Terrence mentioned. That was like the low point of the season, I guess, for him as a Yankee
Yeah.
fan, the regular season. I'm assuming that was it for you. Like that.
I think the Marlins series after the trade deadline was the low point for me. We get these players and then they completely collapse. That was bad. Um, you know, as bad as it sounds, like because they won the series, the Garrett Crochet game, game one of
Yeah.
the wild card series, it looked like we were going to get possibly swept out of the playoffs at home by Boston. I was in a dark place, Frankie. I was staring at the rat poison, Frankie. I was staring at the rat poison, and I decided, I'm gonna trust my guys, and I didn't drink the rat poison, but. We came back and won. I got to a better place. But after we lost game two of the DS, that's when I started recording like the five Yankees who won't be back. I did a re record on that. I did the post mortem. and I was like, okay, yeah, I don't think the Yankees are getting out of this series, and I was right, they didn't.
Yeah, we said before the series, just win one game in Toronto, and once it was clear, the Vladdy Grand Slam is when I was like, okay, yeah, good night. Um,
Yeah, yeah, I think actually you tweeted that. I think you tweeted, "Well, fun season," like when he hit that grand slam. When he hit that grand slam to blow the game open, and it erased all doubt that you could come back and win game two. I think I started thinking sweep. I was like, "Oh man, we're probably gonna get sweep," because they looked so good that when we were down 6-1 in game three, I wasn't even surprised. Right, Judge hitting that home run, Jazz gets the go ahead home run, the momentum swings. And when you win that game in convincing fashion, you're thinking maybe miracle. That's why we were playing. All I need is a miracle. But then, I thought the decision by Boone to pitch to Vladdy in the first inning, even though Boone didn't make a lot of mistakes in that series, that was one of them because that allowed them to not only get on the board, which it didn't end up deciding the game, but it started momentum for them and it gave Vladdy confidence and stuff. And I just can't imagine that the Jays would have pitched to Judge in that situation. That he'd been killing them the whole series, and he comes up with a base open. You know what I mean?
yeah, I agree with you there. Look, it's not. We lost that game because we couldn't hit, but yeah, I agree. It was so bummer. It was such a bummer that we're all excited for game four. All the momentum's in our favor. We sit down, and by the time like we barely sat down, and it's already 1-0. Like it was such a deflator. But in your mind, you're thinking, all right, it's the bullpen. We're gonna get to them. And the fact that we, other than Ryan McMahon hitting that home run, we just never did.
Yeah.
It was such a. And what did I text you after game three? I said it on the show. Don't waste it. That was such
Yeah.
a wonderful win, an amazing victory, come from behind with Judge and Jazz and all that. Don't waste it. And we did. And that is something that's going to be like Judge's big postseason moment, like gone,
Yeah,
like it
and
never happened.
people, I'm already seeing people say, "Well, he didn't hit in the postseason." Did you not see? Do you know what I mean? People, because the casuals that just kind of tune into the box scores, oh, they lost in 4 games to their division rival.
Yeah,
Judge didn't win the series for them. They think, oh, it's Judge's fault, right? It's like if a good football team gets to the playoffs and the quarterback actually plays pretty well. He doesn't throw any interceptions. He maybe throws for 300 yards, but the defense allows 40 points and you get blown out, you think, well, without even looking at it, you're like, well, that quarterback, he's a bum. He can't win in the postseason, can't win the big one. But it's really the defense that let him down. The rest of the squad, the offensive line, whatever.
exactly. Maybe that's something that Dan Marino had to deal with a lot throughout his career with the Dolphins there.
I saw a video on this because I've been watching a lot of Marino highlights lately. I've been going through kind of like a 90s football kind of like kick.
Mm.
By the way, some of those 90s quarterbacks were amazing, dude.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
Jim Kelly, Warren Moon, like even
Marino
like
Elway.
Montana and Elway. Yeah, Elway. I mean, and Marino. I just love watching him pass. But I was watching a video that was talking about how he actually did have like some good running games, and he always had like decent receivers. It was a lot of times it was the defense and it was the O line. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that killed him. And the one Super Bowl that he was in was it Super Bowl 19 against the Niners. He got blown out, and
Yeah,
unfortunately,
Montana.
never
You mean
made
it wasn't Ray Finkel? You
it.
mean they
Was
made that up? Ace
laces out,
Ventura. I
Dan.
saw a great documentary called Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, where they had this whole story about this kicker who missed just a little wide left.
Thank you for pointing that. The whole time I'm like, should I make the Ace Ventura jokes? And you just went right in. So
Laces
thank you.
out.
Yeah, laces out, Dan. Yeah, but it's not. It was not Judge's fault. It is weird. Judge hits, and no one else does. I will say the only thing you can, I guess, blame him for is what was it, bottom of the fifth or sixth in game one, or top of the sixth in game one, and you're
Struck
down
out.
2 runs, and he
Yeah.
struck, and he took
Yeah,
that pitch
that
that was like
sucked.
a foot off. That one you can blame him for,
That
and
was a
but
momentum killer. That could have changed the game. I mean, if he walks in a run there and then Bellinger walks to tie the game,
yeah,
maybe there's like Michael says, the fallacy of the predetermined outcome. You don't know how the series turns out. If he hits a grand slam there,
yeah.
if he what did Vladdy do every time he came up with guys on base? He hit something hard somewhere, and that's a big moment for
Yeah,
sure.
but the Yankees should have walked Vladdy there and I don't know if you watched the game yesterday with Dodgers Phillies. I didn't really. I saw some people complain about the Phillies intentionally walking Ohtani. I didn't mind it because even though he's been like 1 for 18, 1 for 19, you feel like
He's
eventually
dangerous.
he's dangerous.
Yeah.
He's got to get his due. I didn't
My
have
thought was if you get beat by Otani, you look like an idiot because why are you pitching to
yeah,
Shohei
exactly.
Otani? Like he's the goat. I never have a problem with walking the team's like best hitter, right? I just never have a problem with that.
Yeah, I have a problem with walking bets right after that, and then the just
Yes.
the unbelievable ending of that game, which I was watching in a sports bar, and we were all just like, did that just happen? Like, we had just
You're
like
allowed. They allow you in bars, Frankie. Still, after
somehow.
last time,
I know,
after the nakedness incident.
it was only one time, okay?
Yeah.
It was only one time. But yeah, no, we were all just me and my it was Dave and Buster's, I guess I'll say. So me and my cousins were there, and we were all just like just dumbfounded. Like we just could not believe that a game ended like I can't recall a game ever. And it also made me feel better about the Yankees. Because like, well, at least we didn't lose like that. At least,
Yeah. Well, Phillies fans are also feeling it today. I mean, that's a tough way to go out. They had a good team. Their window is closing too. I mean, their window's closing. I thought they had a shot to beat the Dodgers. I really did. Just going into that series, but Dodgers are getting hot at the right time, right? And they're getting their pitching back at the right time. I think the Dodgers probably going to go all the way, Frankie. I think
I
they're
think
probably
it's
going to be the first team to repeat since the Yankees.
I texted my friend Henry, who's a Dodgers fan. He works for Foul Territory, and I told him it just seems. I know you probably don't want to say it. You don't want me to say it, but it just seems inevitable. Like they just seem like with this
I
bullpen,
am
like how it's
inevitable.
this bullpen, like it's how are they not broken yet? They was such a weakness going into this postseason with this bullpen, and they keep bending but not breaking. And Sasaki is just like, my
Well,
gosh, he's
that's the deal. I mean, Suzuki's doing what Phil Hughes did in '09. Remember that?
that's right.
Remember he got injured for the first part of the season, and then
Yeah,
around August he's coming back. They didn't have a great spot for him in the rotation, so they said, what, pitch out of the bullpen. I
he
could
was
be wrong
great.
on the time frame there, but I feel like he had about 6 or 8 weeks where he was just dominating out of the pen, and then he pitched well in the postseason out of the pen. I mean, he became, and that's what Suzuki has done, and he's got the stuff to be an elite relief pitcher, so they might want to leave him in that role.
Yeah, that's something they're gonna have to think about here. I'm trying to look at his 2009 playoff stats. Yeah, he pitched 9 games. He went 6 and a third innings, 6 earned runs, 1 home run, 7 strikeouts. What was his ERA? Yeah, oh, 8.53. Okay, so in the postseason, I guess he struggled a little bit. I gotta check
Yeah,
what his
I
game
think I
log
think
was.
he had like one bad game. If I'm gonna
Trying to
look at,
remember.
so I googled Phil Hughes and it brought up a soccer player who died, I guess.
Oh, well,
Uh,
RIP to him. Oh,
yeah,
he had a great tribute to that soccer player. We just he gave up 2 runs
R.I.P.
in
Phil
the
Hughes.
he gave up 2 runs in that game where Mark Teixeira hit the walk-off home run. And then he gave up a run in Game 5 of the LCS, and then he gave up 2 runs in Game 1 of the World Series. He pitched in Game 5. He went no run runs. He had no run runs in Game 3 against the Twins. Yeah, he had a couple good performances. He just had a couple shaky outings, but yeah, he was great in 2009, especially down the stretch. And, you're gonna make me think about that '09 team, man. You're gonna make me sad again because
Yeah,
that's 16 years, man. I can't. I know that they're like Cubs fans are like, oh come on, really? Like 16, like Padres fans or Tiger fans, like really 16. But for the payroll that we have, and with the Yankees with this pedigree, you just expect that you don't expect 16 years like this. And I know it's
I,
happened before, but you just figure that there would be something. It's not looking good
not
right
to
now.
not to go back to Phil Hughes. He started as a reliever on on June 8th, 2009. At
Okay.
that point, as a starting pitcher, he was 3-2 with a 5.45 ERA. After that, he had 51 and a third innings. He had a 1.40 ERA as a relief pitcher, 65 strikeouts. He only allowed 2 home runs, only had 13 walks. So he was really, really good as a relief pitcher.
Yeah,
And Sasaki might be the same type of guy.
exactly. That team was so much fun. When was the Cervelli home run? When was the turning point of that season? Was that May or
That
June?
was early May, I think. It was in Atlanta, right?
Yes.
It was after A-Rod was back. I feel like it was probably mid-May.
Yeah, every year when I'm watching the Yankees after we have a terrible summer swoon, I always look forward to I always call it the Cervelli home run. Like who's going to have that moment? It was June 24th. Um, who's going to have that moment that's going to turn everything around and the Yankees are going to go on this huge and I mean there's a couple moments every year I'm like, oh, this is it turning and then like we end up not winning the World Series and it ends up becoming a
I
moot
thought it
point.
was going to be the Martian walk off. I
Oh,
thought
yes.
I thought that was the moment. Okay, this team's going all the way. We got the kid now. He's maturing, and then I don't think he hit another home run all season. What the hell? Maybe he hit
Ah,
one. He had one like high pop up home run late in the season. Man, I was disappointed at his power or lack thereof. But 3 homer game. Other than that, 6 home runs all or 7 home runs all season.
so weird. Are they gonna? Is he gonna be playing more next year?
I hope so. I want him in there. I mean, he's a contact hitter. I think that he should do what Paul O'Neill suggested, which is play winter ball against lefties as a right-handed hitter, just to get practice, right? Just get
Yes.
bet. Like if he works all winter on fixing his swing path, what I want to hear, I want to turn on the radio in spring training, and I want to hear Susan Waldman say,
You know,
Moss has
John.
really been working on his right-handed swing all winter. And I tell you, he's a completely different ball player now. He looks amazing. He's
Looks
slim and
amazing.
svelte, and oh my God, he's going to have a big year.
Roger Clemens is in George Steinbrenner's box.
Roger Clemens is in my box now. Oh my God. It's amazing. We can cut that part. We can cut that
No,
part.
I'm gonna keep that in. Oh, when there's something that good, you got to keep that in. Oh my God, yeah, God, I love you, Susan. I
I love
miss,
Susan.
Dave was great this year, but
Yeah.
there is something special about the unintentional comedy of John and Susan. Like
Yeah.
can't be matched. Like having those
They
two
run the
together.
bases like drunks. Remember, that was my great.
Oh
How
gosh,
is that as a Sterling? Is that a. Is
that was Sterling.
I feel like that was a good Sterling impression. I feel like that's the
That
first
was
time I've
very
ever
good.
done one
We
good.
run the bases like drunks. Like,
Yeah.
at the end of last year, he was just like he just did not give a crap and was just like
Yeah.
just being brutally honest.
Yeah.
Remember?
I'll tell you what, these Yankees, they're terrible. And they're a bad team. Like, and George Steinbrenner, if he was here, he'd fire everybody. And Cashman, I don't know what he's still doing here. They should trade him, but by fly ball to left field, he makes a catch. And by the way, this stadium is a real piece of shit. And where the booth is cold, the food sucks, and the traffic to get here is a nightmare. By the way, it's 2-1 in Philadelphia.
On the New York Yankees radio network, driven by
New
Jeep.
York Radius ranking net. We'll be back in 10 seconds. Station identification. All right, that's my
Oh,
next. I'm not exactly an impressionist, so
well, that's something to work on for the offseason. Remember in last April when he retired and we got into the press conference and he opens the press conference. He's in the media room and he's like, "Is this the place where Booney always says the guy's getting close?" Like,
yeah,
I'm just like, just no chill at all. It's
yeah.
like, gosh, I love that man so much.
I think eventually you get to a place, and I'm not there, and I don't know anyone who is, where you have more money than time
Yes.
mathematically under any certain scenario you could figure out. That like even if you got fired, even if you got canceled, you got all the money and you got a Netflix full of unwatched Q, baby. And you got a big screen TV and you got a comfortable couch. And I think he's at that place of his life where he's just like, you know what? I can afford to say whatever I want. I turned him into John Wayne right there. I turned
All
him
right,
into
here we go.
all right, the Yankees coming up. Yeah, that was terrible.
It is high, it is far, it is gone.
I want to hear Christopher Walken do a game. Yo,
Oh.
that was a fantastic curveball, baby. Bernoulli effect.
Oh,
Crazy for physics.
all
Wow.
one the honorable Aaron Judge residing.
I tell you what, this guy is huge. Forget it. That one hit deep to left. Forget it. Also, very far home run.
I need a prescription, and the only
Yeah.
fever is more Aaron Judge.
Yeah, he was. He's a pisser.
Oh gosh, yes. I don't even know how we got here, but we're gonna try to cycle it back to more Yankee stuff. What is I don't know if I may have mentioned this earlier. What is your highlight of the year? Like, what is like your favorite moment? Is it the Schlittler performance against the Red Sox?
Yeah, I think Schlittler versus the Red Sox. And thanks for answering for me. Always the mark of a good interview to ask a question and then suggest the most obvious answer so that the guest has to think of something else to say. So if we take out the Schlittler, I'm going to say 3 home runs for the Martian. I think that was great because I've a long time been a Martian fan. But it's okay, Frankie. We can't all be astronauts when we grow up.
I'm sorry. I asked Terrence that. He said the same thing. Barbara Walters, I am not. Mike
You
Wallace,
don't
I am
say.
not. Yes, Mike Wallace, I am not. We're just naming a bunch of old people that no one here, no one knows their name. Barbara Walters and John Wayne. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, it's probably that. I mean, the Aaron Judge again. If we'd won that game, if we'd won that series, the Judge home run would have been up there. I've mentioned it a bunch of times, but I was there for the 9 home run game, the first one against the Brewers.
That was
And
incredible.
that was amazing. I thought we were going to win the World Series that day. The second one was against the Rays, and that was that July, August, or something like that.
I got one for you.
All right, give it to me.
Juan Soto on first base. Low sinking line drive to left field.
Oh yes,
Bellinger makes a shoestring catch and throws something out of Star Wars, to quote that announcer who announced Ichiro's throw. Dave Niehaus, I think, to first base to double him off. Yankees win the game. And also just the sheer day of coverage after the Yankees beat up on the Mets, and Soto was quite unhappy, and it was obvious that he was unhappy that entire series because he left us for another woman. He took his stuff and he went across town to the brunette with big tits, and he basically said, you guys can get lost. And so for him not to make the playoffs and for us to beat them felt great.
Yeah, that was another potential Cervelli home run moment, the Bellinger catch. I think we won a couple
Yeah.
games after that. We're thinking, all right, maybe, and then it didn't. The Soto thing, I'll continue with your analogy. The whole Soto thing is weird because I felt like as Yankee fans, we fell in love with the stripper, and the stripper gave us a wonderful, amazing night, and it was like the best night of our lives. It's just amazing. We fell in love with him right away, and then the morning came, and the stripper was like, all right, I got another meeting. Like,
As
sorry,
someone
like,
who has dated a stripper in the past, I could tell you it's not all it's cracked up to be. They get glitter on everything.
oh, damn it.
It's glitter on everything. Late night phone calls because they needed a ride because people have been buying them drinks all night. Um, yeah, that didn't last long.
So the ideal, that is, man, you have such an interesting life story. The the so I guess the ideal stripper, that's what Soto was, not the getting glitter on everything and yeah, but yeah, that's what he was. And then
No,
I
Juan
get
Soto's more like I'll tell you. I'll give you the what Juan Soto is to me. Okay,
okay.
back in college, there was this chick that lived above us who was very cute, and I was going to ask her out to lunch one day. But I went home for the weekend or something like that, and I came back, and in the meantime, my friend had asked her out, and they started dating. And
Mhm.
it was like the chick you wanted to date, you wanted to go out with, but she goes out with your friend,
Oh
and then she becomes a stripper later on, and that's exactly what happened. She became a stripper later
my
on.
gosh.
So yeah, look, Juan Soto, he had a brilliant year, whatever, but didn't get to play in October. And I suspect he would make more playoff series with the Yankees. But I still contend the Yankees had a better season with the team that they put together than the team they would have had if they had signed him because they lost Garrett Cole and they wouldn't have had Max Fried there to step in and win 19 games.
Exactly. And as you mentioned, Plan B, they did a very good job with that. I'll credit the Yankees. They did an excellent job on Plan B and getting guys in there to help, you know, make up for the loss of Soto. And I also a little skeptical of like making fun of the Soto and the Mets because we got the last laugh this year. But I mean, would it surprise you at all if the Mets are like back in contention next year? Like they have a lot of talent.
They'll win some World Series over that. They'll probably win a couple of series over the next 15 years, I would say.
I hope
Oh, it's
not.
easy to say. The Yankees haven't won one in 16
Exactly.
years now. So maybe easier said than done. But if I had to guess, I'd say they'd win one or two. But let me ask you a question while I got you because I've been thinking about this. Where do you stand on Alonso? He's one of the free agents out there. Maybe Yankees sign him for first base. They shift Ben Rice to catcher. And then you bring Bellinger back to play center field. You got the Martian out there and left. I mean, that's a pretty solid team.
I love that. I love the idea of that. I've been thinking about that ever since we lost Soto. I'm like, what could hurt Met fans most? And the thing that Met
So this has
fans,
nothing to do with baseball and mostly
oh,
to do with
nothing at all.
revenge.
Well, yes, yes, of course. Absolutely. This is all in revenge. I mean, yes, it is a good baseball move. Alonso is, a great home run hitter, but um, the thing that Met fans have really wanted a lot that the Yankees have a lot of, and Mets don't have, is all-time Yankees, like homegrown Yankees that stay there their entire career. Like most Mets, it's like Ed Kranepool, it's David Wright, it's like Ron Hodges. That's it. And the Yankees, I mean, how many guys that were there their entire career? Now a lot of that is, a lot of our guys came from a time when there wasn't free agency, but once free agency happened, we still had guys like Jeter and Mariano who was able to stay there his whole career. A lot of Mets fans don't really have that. They have David Wright, but this generation, it's not many. And Pete is that guy, homegrown Met, loved by Mets fans. It would be so sweet, and it's like the only thing that we can get that would be, in terms of getting it back is being able to acquire Alonso. And I also think it's a great baseball move. I think it'll be great at
He's a
Yankee Stadium.
terrible base runner. He's a terrible fielder. He can hit
Fair.
though, and
He
he
can
can hit
hit.
for average and he can hit for power.
By the way, a
I,
terrible base runner and a terrible fielder and a great hitter, that fits the Yankees so well.
I mean, have you ever heard a better description of a New York Yankee?
Exactly. He's like tailor made for us.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, I would love to see him. And I mean, there's a bunch of things. There's a bunch of things they're gonna have to do in the offseason. I forgot we've talked this whole time and we did not mention the probably the number one scapegoat among Yankee fans, the most hated Yankee of the year, our boy Anthony Volpe. He can't be the starting shortstop next year, can he?
I mean, he can technically. I wouldn't be shocked if the Yankees went did it. But if I were running things, I would go ahead and sign Bo Bichette,
Yes.
put him in shortstop until Lombard's ready, and then shift Bichette over to third to replace McMahon, who has a couple of years left on his contract. Um, I think that you need more contact. He gives you that. I don't know how he is as a defender, but I've heard a lot of people say he's not good. Every time I've seen him, he's seen fine. Volpe was pretty good as a defender in the playoffs, but in terms of during the regular season, he wasn't all that great. So I don't think you're losing all that much. But yeah, I mean, oh for what, 1 for 15 with 11 strikeouts. I mean, that's just an intolerable situation, Frankie. That's intolerable.
He has, it is, it's just shocking how bad he's become. And we were all excited in 2023. We were all looking forward to it. And we never could have imagined this kind of fall from him. But is it that surprising considering how many Yankees we've grown in our farm system, hitters that have just completely just failed us? Like I was listening to John Boy a couple days ago and he was talking about like we do a great job. Our team does a great job of building up pitchers, but we don't do our analytics team does not do a good job of building hitters, with the
Hmm.
exception of Judge, and I guess Ben Rice, and Volpe's just one of those guys. Like I also heard that apparently Volpe before the year when they asked like what changes that he made, he just said like, oh, I just did the same thing. I didn't really make any changes. I just assumed like third year I'll figure it out.
Hmm.
I mean I mean, and we could tell the arrogance to just assume that like
Yeah.
you'll figure it out. He's just
Well,
and look, I know that he's gonna go somewhere and hit like 40 home runs. I know it. He's gonna become like a great player. I know it. But whatever it is here, it's not working, and it's time to move on.
yeah, we said that about Gleyber Torres too. He got off to a hot start and then he, came back to normal. Let me ask you this. Um, is this the fault of the beards? It was weird having a full year of Yankees beards. Nobody talks about it anymore.
It is such a weird thing, like because it was such a talking point for so long, and then it happens. It's like, yeah, no one mentioned it. I mean, well, we why did we bring the beards? Because of Devin Williams. So I'm glad we did it for that guy.
Yeah.
It's kind of like firing Joe Girardi because Gary Sanchez said so. Like that's really the kind of person you want to listen to in that situation.
I don't know 100% it was because of Devin Williams. Apparently it had been kind of like churning a little bit, but apparently Devin Williams did have an issue with it out of the gate. So I don't know who to believe. I'm hoping, how beat writers write like books about the sport and stuff, like Brian Hoke or, Jack Curry, whatever. I hope somebody writes the inside story behind like beards and how they came back.
Yes, I would also somebody can have an inside story of because I don't me and Terrence were talking about like is the Yankee window closed? And I don't think it. I think the Phillies window is closed. I think yesterday was the end of it. I think the Yankees window is closing, but we have one more year, and then we don't know what happens in 2027 with because there could be a lockout, there could be a strike, there might not be baseball. So this could be the end of this era, this Boone, like a book about the Boone era and all
Mm.
the steps that went into like where we are today and the failures of it. That would make for an interesting story that I would love and hate to read like 20, 30 years from now.
Only
But
if it was written in crayon, you know.
sh sure, sure,
I
whatever.
I don't know about the Phillies era being over. They got some money to spend. They've got some good players. They don't want to waste having Bryce Harper on the team. He's such an iconic guy, and he's still so good. Schwarber, I mean, how do you hit 55 home runs and then not come back? You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like you're gonna be comfortable. The city loves you. They'll bring him back. I could see them going out and getting another pitcher like a Framber Valdez or somebody like that
yes.
and maybe making a trade or two to try and reinforce their team because they know they got to get by the Dodgers. I could see them kind of going all in the way that Texas went in a couple of years ago. Remember when they just spent like crazy? Because
Yes.
it's like, look, we have an opportunity to win here, but we got to get by the Dodgers, and the only way that you're going to beat the Dodgers right now is to get like, to spend. Like they spend so much that they have such unbelievable talent. And, now that they've unlocked Roki, who knows what they'll do out of the pen for the next few years. You got to bolster up your teams. I wouldn't be surprised if Philly goes for it.
Yeah, that's right. But I guess I was just assuming they'd lose Schwarber. But I guess you're right. If they bring Harper and Schwarber back, then yeah, they'll be contenders next year. And I mean, yeah, where do you see right now? Where do you see the Yankees in 2026? Like if you had to rank them with the American League teams.
Well, I mean, they've made zero. I mean, zero changes have happened, so I'd have to put it exactly as it is right now.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, ask me again in December. I want to see what they do. I want to see what they prioritize. I think that they're getting better. I think their starting pitching is going to be solid with having Garrett Cole back. I was one of the people who was early on like super high on Luis Heel, but the fact that he has had injuries and also so many command problems that he's just been unable to fix, I would be on board with trading him if you could get something good. I want to throw this trade at you. I put it out there a couple days ago. Um, Luis Heel,
Okay.
rookie of the year last year, 100-mile-an-hour arm. Adam Warren, solid rookie this year, tons of control. So I'm sorry, Will Warren. I keep saying Adam
Okay.
Warren. Will Warren, solid rookie, tons of control, good strikeout numbers. Jason Dominguez, promising left fielder, switch hitter with power, good kid. And let's say Spencer Jones, 35 home run, number 2 prospect in the organization, and let's say Carlos Legrand, 100-mile-an-hour
Oh
arm
gosh.
in the minor leagues for Paul Skeens. And we bring Paul Skeens, but more importantly, we bring Livy Dunn to Yankee Stadium every fifth day. Uh, I think that is a rotation that could be had, given the state of the Pirates, given the state of what baseball wants this guy to pitch in like a major market. I think it could be had, and I think that Cashman, he knows like to shut down a Jays team like that, you're gonna need something special, right? To get by Garrett Crochet in a wild card game next year, you're gonna need somebody to match up with him. I think if you put pair the Yankees offense with Paul Skeens, I think he wins 20 games. I think he easily wins 20. He might win 25 games. I think that it can happen. I'm advocating for it. That's going to be my mission this winter. Is I'm going to influence my way to having Paul Skeens on the New York Yankees next year.
That's an interesting trade. I'm not. I also don't think they're trading scenes at all. I think when's this contract up?
He's got like 3 years, but
Okay.
um, and the Pirates would basically be admitting they're not in the baseball business, as
Yeah.
Francesa said, if that happened. But you can overwhelm. You can make them better, like by
Yes.
giving them 2 pitchers to go. Now instead of just Keller and Skeens, you got Keller, Heel, Warren, right? You got three.
Yes.
And then you can get a potential 40 home run Joey Gallo type who plays good defense for your outfield. You can bring in Dominguez who's got like, star potential, and maybe include Volpe. Maybe, I mean, give him a shortstop and pay his
Please
entire,
take him.
how many years left does he have on his contract? A couple of years. I mean, he's going to be making in the millions this year. He's going to get a raise because he's in year 4. Pay his entire contract to play for free. Give a free shortstop to the Pirates.
Yeah. I do like that trade. Although, man, I'd hate losing. I know you'd hate losing Dominguez too,
For
but
Skeens, I'd get over it.
yeah, oh, yeah, that's fair. By the way, trading just so we can get Livy done every 5 days. That is the exact reason why I wanted to sign Justin Verlander, just so we could see Kate Upton. It's the same reason why I wanted to get Cole Tucker, who isn't even that good. But I'm like, you know what? At least I get to see Vanessa Hudgens all the time. That's
Yeah.
really,
So
that's really fair.
Kyle Tucker, or is that who you said? Kyle Tucker?
Oh, Cole Tucker, excuse
Oh,
me.
Cole Tucker. Oh, I was gonna say Kyle Tucker. I don't think he's dating.
No. Cole Tucker. I don't know how the heck that happened, but Cole Tucker pulled Vanessa Hudgens. God bless him.
Okay, because I
Yeah.
was just looking at Kyle Tucker because that's somebody that is going to be talked about a lot this winter. 841 OPS, 22 home runs, 25 stolen bases. Honestly, I think that Ballinger had a better year. Tucker's a little younger, but that's going to be an interesting. That's going to be an interesting free agency. See what he gets because he didn't have a great year. He didn't
No,
have a $500 million year. I'm
no,
sorry.
yeah, he was a disappointment this year. He wasn't like what Juan Soto did for us last year. So a lot of moves the Yankees are gonna have to make here. We're wrapping up here. We're running out of time. Just want to thank you again, Derek, for another great year. This is my 4th year
Thank
of
you.
Pinstripe territory. Oh, thank you. It was year 6 for you. It's year 6 for both of us covering the Yankees every day. Although I took a lot of days off, so I guess it's like 5.5. But yeah, year 6 for you covering every Yankee game. It's been a lot of fun. Look, it's not always fun watching this team, but it is fun talking about it, building this community. It's been very enjoyable, and just thank you again for the opportunity. I'm looking forward to hopefully a better year in 2026.
A lot less hair than when I started, Frankie.
Yeah,
And I
well,
blame that directly on Brian Cashman and narrative. That's what I do. But
I thought you were gonna blame it on me, which I thought would have been a fair.
no, you're more the gray. You're the gray.
Okay. That is
The
fair.
ulcers, the
Yes.
pulsating, bleeding ulcers in my abdomen. That's the hemorrhoids. That's that's where we get. That's
Well,
Frankie.
I knew I was causing you some discomfort. Well, look, thank you guys. It's been a great season. Well, for the Yankee, for us. I mean, I think this was your biggest year in terms of growth. In terms of the Yankees, it was a season. I don't know if it was great, but it was definitely a lot of ups, a lot of downs, mostly downs. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking with us all season long. And I know next year is going to be even better. You got a lot to look forward to. Your 30th anniversary of the '96 team. So I know you're doing stuff on that. You have your
Land the
book coming
plane,
out.
Frankie. Land the plane, Frankie. We're running out of time. I
I
see the
know we're
top
running out of
clock
time.
ticking.
Exactly. But thank you guys so much. Derek, thank you. See you guys around. Thank you guys for another great year.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. What's up, TK?
How we doing?
I'm hanging in there. How about you? Are you feeling better?
Uh, I don't know. This is I was thinking about this as I watched the final out. I was actually in an acting class and I'm like watching it in class. And to me, this is gonna sound weird, but this one almost hurts more than last year.
Wow.
And I'll explain what I mean. Just because they lost this one, and this was the first time where I had the actual reality set in that Aaron Judge might never win a World Series. He's going to be 34 next season. He had the elbow issues. Garrett Cole, who just missed this year, is going to be 35. Stanton's got 2 more years on his contract. The window is closing, is kind of the point. Um, And it's really like I always go back to that 2017 Yankee team because oh my God, that run was magical. And they obviously got robbed or whatever. I'm not saying they would have won the World Series, but I do think that they got robbed of a World Series appearance. And last season kind of felt like that was the year, right? You had Juan Soto on your team, he left. But really, the Yankees should have won game one, three, and five if they played clean baseball and they made the correct decisions. And then you would have been up 3-2 going back to LA for game six and seven, and you would have felt pretty good about that.
Now, if we had
So,
won game one, three, and five, we would have won the series. We won it in five. Man, you had a lot to say there. Man, 2017, I'm always just I'm gonna be sick about that. Up 3 games to 2. That's as good as it felt. That's as good as it felt being a Yankee fan in a long time. And then just those last 2 games. I always think back to game 2 of that series where the walk off and Sanchez not being able to get the ball better.
yeah,
I You made a good point there about how this feels like the end. It's different in that I feel like the Phillies window yesterday closed. I think the Yankees is closing. Like there's a
yeah,
difference. I think you can still get maybe 1 or 2 more years out of this group, but right now I still think last year's was worse. But you're right. There's kind of a sense of finality to it. It does feel like with every year, it just feels more and more likely that this group is just not going to get it done for whatever reason. Whether it's
you know,
And we can't really blame Judge for this one.
no, Judge showed
Uh,
up.
Judge was great, and Judge was great. He didn't do not a lot of slugging. He did hit the 1 home run in Game 3, but it wasn't a lot of slugging. But he did get on base, and the rest of the team couldn't get hits. Whether it was Stanton, whether it was my mortal enemy Anthony Volpe, whether it was Wells, whether Grisham, just so many guys, and then the pitching not being able to show up. And I'll say this: if you can't win a Game 4 at home against a bullpen against a team with a bullpen game, when your rookie starter goes what 6, 7 innings and gives up 2 runs, you don't deserve to go anywhere. You deserve to be knocked out.
Yeah. Well, especially since game three, they basically massacred the bullpen too. So how can you go from, lighting them up and then nothing the next game? Um, you got to tip your cap. Uh, I think the Blue Jays, the way that team is built is much better for modern baseball in 2025. I know it's all about the home run and, the analytics say it's all about the home run. It's all about the home run over the 162. It's not about the home run in the playoffs. The playoffs, and I don't know when the Yankees front office or really just executives in general. And I'm not saying that analytics don't work. The Dodgers are heavily analytic. Brewers heavily analytic. The Phillies, I think the least analytic team in baseball is the Braves, and they obviously didn't do much this year. Um, and to I guess a certain extent, the Rangers, who had Bochy, but they just fired him, or
Yeah.
they went their separate ways, whatever. So I think yes, the analytics works over the 162, definitely, because you have a large enough sample size for the law of averages to take effect with the analytics. But I think that all those Harvard and MIT graduates in the Yankee front office who didn't play the game, no hate, no shade. but I mean, I don't know if they can hit a beach ball with a tennis racket, but there is definitely a human element to the game, and there is a feel to the game that has been mostly ignored, and that becomes even more apparent in October. In October, especially as in Yankee Stadium, as a Yankee wearing that uniform, there's a build up to the moment, and you gotta. I think it's like the biggest thing is critical two-out hits, two-out hits when the bases are juiced up. And I'm gonna go chapter and verse about this series, about certain moments like that. Clean defensive play. I mean, Ernie Clement had like 9 hits, dude. Like we're talking about Ernie Clement.
How the hell?
Yeah, right. So I mean, it's really, I mean, Guerrero's Guerrero. The guy's an unbelievable player. Tip your cap, right?
Insane.
Yeah. But Ernie Clement, 9 hits. Like I think the Yankees, the home run or bust approach, like it really doesn't work in October. And going to the World Series last year might have been one of the worst things that's happened to this organization in the modern era, because it validated what this front office has been doing. And who'd you play? Played the Royals and you played the Guardians. Give me a break. Give
Yeah.
me a break.
And
There
the
you go.
Astros got knocked out,
Hmm.
and
And the
there
Orioles, who
was
were good that year, also got bounced.
exactly.
So,
So
yep.
you dealt with a very easy draw, and then you went up against an actual good baseball team, and you couldn't. But shouldn't that have? Didn't we know that home run or bust didn't work? I feel like we all knew. We've known this for years. Why is it that the Yankee front office? Why is it that this team? Why do they not understand it? We've made it clear time and time and time again. It does not work, and yet for some reason, that is why I'm so. I think it's another reason why you're so just doom and gloom about this team. It doesn't seem like we know what the issues are with this team, and we have no confidence that they're going to fix it.
Yeah, I think I've watched this team long enough, been around this team long enough where, and I've had the chance to work for the team, so I've kind of peeked behind the curtain, if you will. But I just think, I mean, you can go, oh yeah, there's egos in the room. I think every pro franchise has egos in the room. The Kansas City Chiefs have ego in the rooms.
Mhm.
Doesn't mean they're not a dynasty. Um, but with this, it's just like this is how we're gonna play. And, you know, I'm not gonna kill I'm not gonna kill Aaron Boone.
You can do that.
I'm no, I'm not. I don't think. Like, I don't think, do I think he's a great manager? No, I don't think he's a great manager. Do I think he's a bad manager? No, I think he's kind of middle of the pack. I think, and I've said he's a puppet to the front office before. But he's a puppet in the sense, but he's in lockstep with that. So he does exactly what they want, but he believes in it. So if you want to criticize him for that and he's part of the problem, fine. I can kind of subscribe to that ideology, but the guy believes in this, and the front office is going to stick with him if he executes the plan that they want. To me, this is much more a Brian Cashman issue. I had this debate with a colleague of mine who's a Red Sox fan. He's an older Red Sox fan, so he remembers when the Red Sox were terrible and the Yankees were in the dynasty years. And to me, that's a whole other conversation as a younger fan like myself. But we were saying, okay, so since 2000, right? We'll even say 2001 just to make things kind of even a better argument here. But the Yankees, the '04 Red Sox series, that kind of really changed a lot of things, I think, just in history. Yankees win in 2009. Sorry, that's a championship they bought. They bought the best free agents. They wanted to win. They missed the playoffs in '08. They bought that championship. It came together. The '90s dynasty, those were the core players that they grew in their farm system. That's different. And the Red Sox, so they obviously won in '04. They won in 13 and they won in 18.
And in
But
'07.
in '07, yeah. So but you sprinkle in, right? You sprinkle in some last place finishes in there. So my argument was, would you rather be competitive every season and make the playoffs pretty much every season like the Yankees do? Or would you rather have multiple championships with some last place finishes in there like the Red Sox? And for me, I picked the multiple championships. Like, I've heard Brian Cashman on the K show talk about, like, it's about championships, not championship. Well, you got to get the first one in order to get championships, as you keep saying. I mean, the Dodgers, you know how hard it is to go back to back in baseball, especially right now in today's era? Championship. Get the first one out of the way first. This window is closing quickly as well.
How many years left do you think we have of this window? Because there's a
Judge's
very good
prime.
chance we're not gonna what?
Judge's prime. That's it.
So
That's the
next
window.
year,
So I
and then
think I think realistically, 2 to 3 more years.
there might not be baseball in 27.
That too.
So next year is going to be a very fascinating year in multiple respects. Not only again, we're nearing the edge of Judge's prime. A lot of teams are going to be, I feel like, desperately trying to go for it because we don't
Yeah.
know when baseball is going to be back. With all this stuff with the salary cap and how the owners are looking like they don't want to budge and the players don't look like they want to budge, there's a good chance we don't have baseball in 27. So next year is going to be so important to try and fix whatever the problem is and to get over the line. But again, I don't have any faith in that team. I will ask you, yeah, we're sad the Yankees got eliminated, but this was kind of a miserable season when you think about it, especially in the summer. This team was not really fun.
I
So
mean, they won 94 games. It's hard to say that, you
I mean,
know.
yes, but that summer
It's
stretch,
like we're not rooting for the White Sox
of
or the
course,
Yankees,
it could
right?
always
Like
be
that
worse.
that's a real the Orioles. Think about the Orioles, what they were supposed to be. That's
Oh
a
yeah,
real miserable season. I think it's hard to say that this was a miserable season. Was it disappointing in some regard? Yes. Some in some aspects. But they won 94 games and, they made the playoffs and, they beat the Red Sox. All right, cool. But I think it was a disappointing season just in terms of what the expectations were. I mean, you just came off a World Series appearance. I was kind of like, you should at least go to the ALCS, at least. That was
Mhm.
like me, that was the goal. Uh, if you went to the ALCS and you played the Tigers and Scooble like shut you down 3 games and it was a 7-game series and you lost, so, all right. I mean, that kind of sucks. But you lost in the DS, dude. And Max Fried, great season, didn't show up. He showed up the first game against the Red Sox,
Yep.
but he hasn't been a good October pitcher in his career. He's got like a 5 ERA. He's kind of like Kershaw in that regard.
Mm.
Um, in that contract, when you look at it, like that was a little bit of a desperation. We just lost Juan Soto. We got to
Oh yeah,
make a splash. It was. It was. Was he a good pitcher for us? Yes. Do I think the contract's way too long? Also, yes. Do I
yes,
think they had to give him the years in order to sign him? Also,
yes.
yes. Those are all real things. But considering the emergence of Schlittler, the Yankees got some nice young arms. I don't exactly think that it was like critical to sign him. I almost would have rather kind of waited in the weeds, and almost given like the money, put the money elsewhere, you know.
To to another starter, another bat. Like, what would you
Another
think?
bat, another
Yeah.
contact low strikeout bat. That's what they needed. That's what they like a kind of like a Stephen Kwan, like somebody like that.
I would have loved
Um,
having Steven Kwan on this team. He would have been.
yeah. I mean, I'll be on the show tonight with Derek. We're going to talk about some off-season things. I've kind of been thinking about lots of different kind of ways to try to fix this team or make this team more competitive. But as far as the game itself, the game four, there's two critical things that happened. The first play is the Jazz double play. You got to make that play. That changed the entire game. That's the first thing. Look, physical error, critical moment of the game, so you're annoyed. I'd be much more annoyed if it was a mental error, but physical error, the ball was hit hard, it's a tough play, but it's the players got to make that play. That changes the entire complexion of the game. The thing I'm much more upset about that I'm going to rip him for, and if I'll tease this a little bit, but in my offseason plan, he's not on the Yankees in 2026 because of this. Austin Wells
Yes.
swinging the first pitch
My gosh.
against Jeff Hoffman with bases loaded, 2 outs. Terrible at bat, terrible approach. The guy is sweating. He's got a 4 ERA on the season. He can't spot his splitter. He can't spot his fastball. You take a strike. You take a strike in that situation. If he walks, fine. You get a run and you pass the baton to the next guy. Swinging at the first pitch and you loft one, you swing at the first pitch, you better drive the ball in the gap. You better put it in the seats or drive the ball in the gap. That's a terrible, terrible at bat. I don't know if that's Boone, the hitting coach, the bench coach, the first base coach, I don't know who, Volpe, Judge, I have no idea who's like, hey, dude, swing at the first pitch. That is a terrible, terrible, terrible at bat. That's a mental thing. That's you don't know the situation you're in. I'm gonna kill him for that. Kill him for that. I'm ripping him. That's a terrible at bat. Can't happen. Sorry. Take a pitch in that situation. You got to know what situation you're in.
You are preaching to the choir. I felt the same way. It wasn't even that good of a pitch. All right, if it's like a Nestor
Terrible at bat.
Cortez meatball down the middle to Freddie Freeman, then yeah, sure, you hit that out of the park. It wasn't even
It
that
better
good.
be your pitch if you're swinging at
Yes,
the first. If you're saying I'm going to be aggressive, I'm swinging at the first pitch. It's got to be your pitch. You're taking the
exactly.
strike. That was a high and out in the zone. Look, he did the right thing with the pitch. Like in the batting cage, that's what you do with that pitch right there, where
Yeah,
it is, what pitch that is. But in the situation that you're in, you're not looking for that. That's not what you're
exactly.
looking for. He was gonna hang, like I'm telling you right now, that guy could not spot a splitter. He was gonna throw a meatball hanging splitter, it just kind of lofts in there, and he could have taken it out and pulled it. Terrible at bat, terrible mental approach there.
And
Terrible.
kind of personified Wells's
Yep.
year here with the he was such a disappointment.
Yeah.
Uh,
He's
I
pretty
mean,
good behind the plate, but offensively awful. Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to think of players that yeah we mentioned the players we mentioned Grisham just fell apart here in the postseason. I guess that was bound to happen after such an
Yeah.
awesome regular season. Stanton, I don't know what happened there. I guess again another guy was just after so many postseasons where he bailed us out. I guess was gonna have a postseason where he just sucked, and that's what happened here. Um, is Anthony Volpe going to be our shortstop next year? Please tell me no. Please tell me no.
I wouldn't, but I know this organization. Yes, he will be. He'll be in the lineup on opening day because I know the way this organization operates. I know the way they think. I think he will be. That's not what I would do. I want to differentiate those two things. Again, we'll get into that. I'm going to tease a little bit. We'll get into that tonight. I have a little bit of a plan for that. So does Derek. He's going in a different direction. Um, but that's definitely what they're going to do. I don't think that's the correct choice, but they're going to do that.
Do
Yeah.
they hate their fans? Like, dude, like why? Like nobody wants him. Like
Because
he
they
has a
don't want
zero
to they
percent
don't want
approval
to
rating.
I really think it's like they don't want to be wrong. I really
You're
think that.
already wrong.
I know. I know, but they will die on that hill. I think about it this way, dude. You know, Clem Frazier, Miguel Andujar, Davy Garcia, Spencer Jones quickly approaching that. Jason Dominguez, even all these highly touted prospects that the Yankees. I remember talking to one of my baseball coaches who was a scout for the Phillies. And I remember him saying to me, he's like, if I was a blue chip player in high school or college, I was like a projected like top 10 pick, no way I'd want to go to the Yankees. They let their prospects rot in the minor leagues. And when they finally do bring them up, as we've seen, they either rush them up like they did with Volpe. And Volpe won the job in spring training, right? But they got nothing for Peraza. That was the time. As soon as Peraza started that playoff series against the Astros in Houston, and then Volpe, they were gonna they should have traded Peraza that spring training. That was peak value for him. Spencer Jones, if you're gonna re-sign Cody Bellinger and put him in center field, and Jason Dominguez is your left fielder, and Judge is playing right, and Stanton is DHing, and Rice is playing first, where's Jones gonna play? You have to trade him. When he was hitting home runs every day in the minor leagues, I mean that was when you trade him. And I'm a fan of Spencer Jones. I think he could be a good major leaguer, but like you got to recognize when somebody's fitting in your plans or not, right? Um, Volpe, it's like they could have traded Volpe for Matt Olson or Luis Castillo, and they could have signed a Trey Turner if they wanted to. They could have signed a Corey Seager. They could have signed a cheaper option, like they could. So I mean, there's lots of different ways that they could have gone about it. But they decided to they and Miguel Andujar, the guy almost won Rookie of the Year. He probably should have won over Otani, but they weren't going to let that happen because
No.
um but like the guy came second in Rookie of the Year, had a great season. Didn't he beat like Joe DiMaggio's record? He broke the record for like most doubles by a rookie in franchise history,
That
something like
sounds about
that.
right.
Yeah, Clint Frazier, legendary bat speed. Now the guy's sitting in the bleacher creatures in the playoff. I mean, these are guys that at a moment in time, this front office could have dealt them for something of import to help Judge win a championship now. I don't think the front office, I hate that mentality. Well, it's about championships. Well, you haven't won one in 16 years. So get the first one. It's not like Judge is getting any younger. Then, I told Derek this. I was like, Judge is, in my opinion, one of the unluckiest superstars in history. He should have won MVP in 2017. Cheating aside, Altuve cheated, but cheating aside, look up the stats. Should have won the MVP in 2017. Okay, then all of his injuries in like 18 and 19, those are freak things. Got hit in the wrist by a pitch,
Yeah.
broke a rib diving for a ball.
Don't forget
So
23 with the injury
20,
with
yeah,
the Dodger
I'm gonna get
Stadium.
to that. Don't worry.
Okay, all
COVID,
right.
2020, COVID,
Yeah.
right? 2022 legendary season. 2023 the wall in Dodger Stadium, 2024. So if he never gets the injury in 2023, you can make a legitimate argument that Aaron Judge would have won three straight MVPs. So now we're at four. And this season, I think he deserves to win. I think Cal Raleighy's going to win because I think the writers have a bit of a Judge fatigue and a Yankee bias. I do think Cal Raleighy's going to win. I mean, 60 home runs for a catcher is pretty unbelievable. He's
Insane.
had a tremendous season. I do think he's going to win. I don't think he should. So we're talking about a guy who, if everything kind of broke the right way, should have five MVPs at this point. And 2027 is in question, so you don't even know if he's going to play. So my point being, dude, in 2017, when you had those prospects at the time, in 2019 was the deadline to trade a Clint Frazier and a Miguel Andujar and get, a Garrett Cole. They didn't want to get Garrett Cole from the Pirates in 2018, I think that deadline was. They didn't get Garrett Cole, prime Garrett Cole from the Pirates because they didn't want to give up Chance Adams. That's what we're talking about here,
Oh
man.
my gosh.
They didn't want to trade Chance Adams to the Pittsburgh Pirates to get Garrett Cole. And then Garrett Cole goes to Houston and he turns into prime Nolan Ryan for like while he was there. Yeah, man. Yeah.
I mean, that's it. Just the stupidity of this front
Yep.
office. They're
Yep.
talking. They're talking about a dynasty they haven't created. They're talking about a
Yep.
dynasty that
So
doesn't
Garrett
exist.
Cole, you make that trade, he goes to the Yankees instead of the Astros, and then they lose to the Astros in 2019. I think that's the difference in the series. You probably go to the World Series against the Nationals in 2019. Maybe you win that one.
That would have been. Yeah, that's just all those what ifs. Like
Yep.
2018, if we won just a few more games against Boston, what if CC had just pitched a normal game in Game 3 instead of whatever it was there?
Yep.
Yeah, 2020 if it wasn't for COVID. There's just so many. I do think Judge is going to win it. I think he's favored right now in Vegas, just barely. I think he's
To
like
win the
minus.
MVP?
He's minus four.
I
I
don't
think he's
know.
like minus 300, minus 400. So I think he's going to win it. It'll be close though. But
Yeah.
it is a real shame that for somebody the talent that he has, 350 home run seasons, and as you mentioned, with all those, like he very easily
Like
could have had
four.
four or five.
Or 450 home for rookie year 2022,
Okay, yes,
2024,
that's right.
2025.
He could have
Those are
very
all.
easily had five or six if just one of those things, just one of those crazy things, just hadn't happened.
Yep.
It's just crazy to think about just all the things that have led to this moment. It's just
Yep.
John Boy was talking about. You were talking about the prospect or the Yankees haven't grown anybody. I was listening to John Boy after game four, and he was saying how the Yankees they know how to develop pitchers. Their analytics have figured out how to develop pitchers. They cannot develop hitters. The only hitter they developed was Judge, and even that was Judge got his own guy. He didn't use the Yankees
Yep.
guys for that.
Yep.
So they have not figured out. And what makes you think? All right, we all
Maybe
want
Ben
Lombard.
Rice. You want to throw Ben Rice, they develop Ben Rice.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But like people are excited for Lombard. What makes us think that it's going to be any different? Like we all thought Volpe was going to be the answer, and
Yeah, the thing about Lombard too, it's like, you know, the only thing that gives me some sort of semblance of hope is he's been around the game his entire life. His
yeah,
dad is a coach and played pro ball, and he's kind of been living like a major leaguer since he was like 12. So he looks really good. So that's one of those situations where I'm like the preparation, the attitude, the mentality, and just the raw talent might just kind of overcome the lack of development from the Yankee side of things. The thing that annoys me though is like they keep on like, well, the Yankees have the best facilities and the best resources. Well, maybe that's true, but something in the secret sauce, I'll quote Michael K, something in the secret sauce, not right. It's just not right. I remember the quote from Didi when Didi was on the team and he did this rehab assignment either in 18 or 19. He was like, you wouldn't believe the shit they're teaching those minor leaguers right now about like launch angle and exit velo and da 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 da. And they're not teaching the fundamentals of the game. And it shows. It shows because now that's that crop of prospects that have been brought up. So yeah, pitching, I don't really worry about arms. I think this is kind of an off year for the Yankee front office with the bullpen being such a problem. Usually this front office can build a good bullpen pretty easily. And Camilo Doval, like even kind of came through at the end of the season. Devin Williams even pitched well in the postseason. He just had a really rocky up and down kind of season. He had some good stretches there. I don't think you should bring him back.
no,
Luke Weaver, to me, I think the hamstring thing threw him off the entire year. I
Yeah.
think the hamstring injury, he rushed back from that. It changed his mechanics.
The
Tipping
Yankees rushed someone back from injury? You don't say.
Yeah, right. But for me, him, I would re-sign him on the cheap. On a like they gave it to Loizaga. I would re-sign him on the cheap because I think you can fix him. I think the hamstring threw him off the entire season. Devin Williams, you let him walk because he's going to want a big contract. I wouldn't give contracts like that to relievers. Um, you know, David Bednar seems like he's the closer. He
Yep.
did a really good job in October as well, which was surprising. You didn't know that. He was an unknown commodity coming over from Pittsburgh, his smaller market, never been in the playoffs. Camilo Duvall, I like it. Tim Hill, I think they need like a flamethrower lefty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is a guy that I've wanted for a while. He's on the Giants and he's ass. Eric Miller throws like 100 as a lefty. They could fix him. They could fix him. So I don't know. That would be one of those like under the radar. Fernando Cruz, good year. Happy with him. And then there's like Rodriguez Cruz and I thought it was Lagrange, but Derek keeps saying Lagrange, so I'm not even sure how you pronounce it. But
Mm.
Lagrange or
Whatever his
Lagrange,
name is.
yeah, Elmer Cruz, like they got some nice arms down there. Chase Hampton is like a starter, but 22. Cam Schlittler is obviously going to be a starter, but his stuff plays so well as a closer.
Yes.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he's going to be a starter. So
he's got to
that's
stay starter. That was probably
honestly, I might consider putting Louis Heel as the closer.
that'd be interesting. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was talking to my friend yesterday how a couple days ago how he was giving me his idea for the rotation, and let me see if I can pull it up. Because the rotation now it's Cole, it's Freed, Cam, Rodon, Heel, and Warren. So he was like, do we do a
Schmidt,
six-man?
Schmidt's supposed to be back in like mid-July, I think, from TJ.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's if they're all healthy. Somebody might
Yes,
go down.
someone will go down.
Yeah, someone will go down.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be. And then again, there's some arms down there that I think that would be fine. Again, they
Yes.
can develop the pitching. The hitting has been an issue though. For a team that's the Bronx Bombers, that's pretty concerning. So,
Yes. But yeah, Heel is a closer. That's a good idea. I like that.
mm.
I do want to end with like maybe some sort of positivity. Do you have like what is your highlight of the year? Is it the Shuttler performance in game
Yeah,
three?
Cam Schlittler for sure. Cam Schlittler, you know that Cam Schlittler is something
Yes.
because I remember he had some good starts. And his worst start was against Toronto. He wasn't even getting hammered. They were just kind of sprinkling the ball. His tough place for the defense. Or so I was like that line was a lot uglier than his actual performance. But I think the biggest positive is Cam Schlittler. Him coming up big in the playoffs. So he showed you that he's got the stuff for it. He's got the guts for it. His stuff obviously is unbelievable. The guy's throwing 100 miles an hour. My thing for him is he's gonna have to like partner up with Matt Blake this winter and really kind of develop the secondary pitches and be confident with them. Because if you're gonna throw like a 12-6 curveball at 82 miles an hour like he does 10% of the time and a changeup that dives away from lefties off of 100 miles an hour, you don't need a cutter. You don't need a two-seamer.
Yes.
You need those three pitches, you're good. That's it.
Yes.
So, and this guy, he's got the stuff, and health is always going to be a thing with pitchers. You don't know, but I know everybody was like, he looks like a Garrett Cole. He looks like Tyler Glass now. I'm telling you right now, he looks like Tyler
It's good.
Glass now.
It's a good person.
I
He
mean,
looks like
he's a
Cam Schlittler. That's what he looks like.
yeah, exactly. But like stuff wise, like we
Yeah.
were thinking about a comp the first time he was up there, I was like, this looks like Tyler Glass now. And Tyler Glass now has had a lot of problems with injuries, but similar build, he could be that kind of pitcher. An ace, number two, even number one in a lot of rotations. The only reason Glasnow's not the ace with the Dodgers is just because they have like three of them. Um,
They're insane.
but yeah, I honestly think in 2, 3 seasons he could be the ace of the staff.
Oh yeah. You're-
Cole would be kind of on the back nine of the contract. Freed getting older, Rodon getting older, and I'll leave you with this. We're gonna discuss this tonight as well, I'm sure. But everyone's wondering what's gonna happen with Paul Skeens. Are they gonna move him or are they not gonna move him?
Not
I,
yet.
I would have pause making the trade only because of this. Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon both become free agents and their contracts expire the year Paul Skeens hits free agency. So you got a lot of money in the rotation freeing up to sign him, to make a real play at him. But at that point, he's probably going to command like what, 70 million a year. Are we going to get to that point? Right. Not if there's a salary cap. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. A lot of interesting things there. Another here question. We actually have a few more minutes than I thought. When was the moment that you realized this year that we weren't going to win the title. Because I have a specific date in my mind. I wonder if you have a similar date.
Probably getting swept in Toronto.
I had that was brutal. That was a terrible
Yep.
and cost us in the end because we had to
Yep.
play
Probably
first two
getting
games
swept.
in
Well,
Toronto. And
you could have said winning that one game against the Rockies would have made the difference, right? All the Devin Williams meltdowns, like, all that stuff. But I think getting
what
swept in
about the
Toronto.
Marlins game?
The Marlins game, yeah, that whole series, like, yeah, that too, that would have made a difference in the division. But like, that was almost kind of like, all right, guys they gotta adjust from coming
Yeah,
over. And I was kind of chalking it up. Then getting swept against the Blue Jays in a four game set, I was like, this team's not doing anything because they cannot beat this team.
I actually have one a little bit earlier. It's the second Dodgers game, not the first one. The second one where they gave up like 12, 13 runs. I forget what
Max Fried or the Will Warren game?
I forget what it was. I'll pull that up right now. But
I
you
was
remember
at the Max Fried game. I think that was the first game of the series.
yeah,
I
that,
was at,
that was the
I was
Friday
at
game,
that.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
so
at that.
there was the May 30th game in which we had the lead early on. We had like a 5-2 lead, and then the
Mhm.
Dodgers just came back. And then it was May 31st. That's right. The Dodgers won 18-2. That was like the Will Warren gave up 7 runs, and
Right.
Judge. I think Judge were the only 2 runs we had. He had 2 home runs in that game. And that was the day that it hit me. But that was also a terrible day because on that same day, one of my other jobs, my boss was really mad at me. I thought I was going to get fired. So that was brutal. We're fine now. We went to the Somerset Patriots game with my friends, my sisters and their boyfriends. The Somerset Patriots got blown out. I
Mhm.
was following on. We were following the Yankee game. They lost 18-2. My sister's boyfriend, who's a Mets fan, was laughing in my face the entire time. And then as we were driving home, the
But you got
Knicks
the
lost.
last lap. They didn't make the playoffs, so
Of course, and
yeah.
believe me, I made sure I reminded him of it a lot.
You
And
show him that clip of me laughing. You should have shown. You should have showed him that clip,
I
honestly.
sent
Like,
him that. By the way, my cousins, God bless them, they have now like taken that clip and like made like chipmunk edits out of it. They've made like a bunch of things. They love it. It's like a huge favorite in the household. So I'm glad that was I had so much fun doing that. And
yeah,
then just to finish out that story, as we're driving home that day, the Knicks are losing Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals to the Pacers and
brutal,
getting their season knocked out.
brutal.
So as we're driving home, I'm sitting there thinking like, can we just like drive into another car? Can we drive into a wall? Can we drive into a river? I was so mad at everything that like the Yankee season was falling apart, the Knicks season was done. It was just a complete. That was the day I realized we weren't. And yeah, you can point out to like either any of the Boston games, getting swept by Boston. But the second Dodgers game, I'm like, oh, we haven't learned, we haven't changed. It's gonna be the same old crap. And then the sad thing is we didn't even get to play the
Yep.
Dodgers again because got nothing.
Yep.
So that's my thing there. But what do you think about that?
Yeah. I look. I'm not the general manager of the Yankees, so
I wish you were.
I don't know, but I think I got some pretty interesting ideas on how to kind of shake things up. I'm not looking at this as a rebuild. It's not a rebuild. You can't and
No.
that's another thing, a completely separate thing. Well, you can't rebuild in New York. That's bull. You can rebuild. You can definitely rebuild and have some losing seasons. It's just that the Yankees refuse to do it because, they want to make sure that the stadium's full and sell their chicken bucks inside. I get it. It's a business. I understand. But if you communicate to the fan base, sort of like what the Rangers did when they sent out that letter, hey, listen, we're not going to be as competitive the next few years. We're going to rebuild. We're going to build from within. I would be okay with that.
Yeah,
Now,
they
you
would never
can't
do
do
that.
that until Judge retires.
No.
I think when Judge retires, you should do it. But right now, it's win now. So what I will discuss tonight on Derek's show, you'll see is this is more of like a retooling for me. So
That's
I've kind
fair.
of figured out a way, I think, to retool the team. I think that I
No,
think would.
I think that's healthy. Again,
Yeah.
this team is too talented to tear down. There's not a lot of like, but the Phillies are probably going to lose Schwarber,
Yeah.
so you can and Harper's getting older, so you're going to have to move away from that. There's still an opportunity here if we change our mindset, if we get a couple of if we learn how to play defense, if we improve the bullpen, if we find an actual decent shortstop. There's a bunch of things that could be changed around here, but yeah, it's
Less
just
strikeouts being the main one. You want to
oh
strike
my
out less.
gosh, by the way, you mentioned the 2 pitch, wall swinging at the first pitch. How many times that happened in the Blue Jay series? Like how many times? Like first pitch, we just swing right away and it's an out. Like every time. Like
Yeah, no, just the approach is just. And I'm not even going to sit here again. The last thing I'll kind of leave you with is Aaron Boone. Everyone fire Boone, fire Boone. It's not going to do anything.
no,
Now, do I think that they need like a new voice in the room? Maybe. It's been
yes,
8 years of much of the same. But it's not going to do anything, guys. Yeah, this is Hal Steinbrenner. The only thing I'm going to kill Hal Steinbrenner for, he spends the money. The payroll is consistently top five, if not top three in the league. He spends the money. He gives the front office the resources they need to build the team to win. my question would be if I ever got to sit down with Steinbrenner and interview him, I was like, is this money being spent wisely? Do you think that you are getting the correct value in return on your investment? I don't know. And I feel like he would just be like, well, I really trust Cash. The process and give me some gobbledygook. If I gave him like truth serum, I'd be like, seriously, do you feel like in the last 10 years, so that's 2016 almost, right? Right when Judge got called up, the Judge era, do you
Yeah,
feel like your money has been well spent? The answer is no.
you'd have
The
to say
answer,
that.
so
There's no reason for him to say. I mean,
yeah,
no championships.
no,
That's what matters.
nope.
But and we'll wrap things up here. Without I forgot to mention one other highlight of the season: the 2 9 home run games we had this
Yeah,
year.
that was
This is such a
cool.
weird team. We hit 9 home runs in a game twice. It just the
A
first one I
home
was there
run,
for.
that's the home run or nothing. That's
Yeah,
it. That's the way they're built. So,
the first one I was there for. For the
oh, you were
Brewers
there?
game, I was there,
Mm,
and the excitement. What and not only that, the 9 home run game. The first 3 pitches of the game, home runs, which has never happened
yeah.
before in the history of baseball, and just this is the loudest I've ever heard a stadium when Judge hit that third home run to not the third home run of the game, but the third in the first inning, and we're all just I'm thinking, has this ever happened before? And everyone just
Mm,
going nuts. I really thought we were gonna win the World Series that day, but alas, it was
nope.
not meant to be. But Terrence, I just want to say, you've been great this year for Pinstripe Territory. It's been another great year for us here at Pinstripe Territory. I think we had our largest growth. I think about 23,000, 24,000 subscribers. I think 3 million views. It was just an unbelievable year, and you played a huge part in it, man. So thank you again, as always.
I
You've been
appreciate that.
awesome.
It's always my pleasure to do it. Glad for the opportunity. And something I enjoy doing, talking about the team. It's almost therapeutic for me sometimes just to kind of get some thoughts off my chest about the team. And listen, it seems bleak and grim and oh, they're never gonna win. And you saw that picture of me when I was 9 years old. Derek put it up the last time they
Yeah.
won. So it kind of really puts it into perspective. But they will win one day. They will win one day. I just hope it's with Judge. And when they do win, man, it'll be sweet.
I just hope I'm alive for it at this point, the way.
Be alive. We'll be alive.
All right, I hope so, man. But thank you
Yeah.
again, and thank you to all of you out there who've followed Pinstripe Territory and my channel for the
Yeah.
7 videos I posted this year. Thank you all for being a part of the our channel this year. It's been a
Yep.
lot of fun, even though the Yankees weren't always fun. It was fun talking with y'all and
Yeah.
interact with the team.
Oh,
Let's
and
hope that 2026.
shout out to that guy who recognized me at JFK Airport. That was pretty cool. That was a cool moment.
That was nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, look, if anybody ever recognizes me in public, yeah, come say hi. I'm happy to say hello to whoever, but that was a cool moment. Felt cool because it was like a real representation of somebody kind of enjoying something that I do, and we were complete strangers, and that was a cool moment. So shout out to that dude.
Shout out
So
to that's a double-edged sword though. If you have people coming up to you, just be like, "Hey, Terrence," and that can
yeah,
get
no,
really bad
look,
at
look,
times.
if you see me in public, that's fine. You can say hello. I'm happy to say hello, do whatever. So
But don't hug Terrence for like a long time. Like, don't, have some boundaries.
yeah.
All right. Thank you, TK. Thank you all. See you all around. See you
Yeah.
guys. Bye.